spread this to anyone that you think would want to watch, and as well just like and retweet, spread the word. Yeah. Hi, I'm Lord. Sundays at the Lich Lounge. Yes. All right. And just as usual, we're pretty much giving people like the 5 minutes before we have. And just as usual, we're giving people like 5 minutes before we like officially start, just so that way our audience can come on in.
Leaving about 20 minutes through, just so I can go cook me dinner and stuff.
All right, I'll move Skittles at the time being, and then when you come back, it'll just automatically recognize you.
Well, no, I'll still be here. I just
Okay.
want to be talking.
Okay. Let's see. You got the so it's not on this. It's not on the screen, but you guys can see the. You guys can see the screen share to see what I'm showing, right?
Yes.
All right, perfect. The Wild Beyond the Witchlight book. I'm gonna go ahead and put this over here so we kind of have like the cover. I love this is a fantastic cover, by the way. I seriously love. Anytime Wizard of the Coast puts out a new book, they just put like such the greatest detail into all of their stuff. I am a little disturbed because I'm not a fan of clowns. But
Really?
Yeah.
You don't like clowns?
No. So growing at least while we're in the 5 minutes before the stream starts, growing up, I was shown the what's it the older It, and I don't know, it kind of like really got to me, and then from there I just like I grew to this point where like clowns don't scare me, but I feel uneasy around them.
Okay.
Why? You just explained that. Please shut the
I mean, a clown makes like 60 grand a year, and that's all I'm saying. Good profession.
Listen, I'm just looking to eat
All
that
right.
pussy, bro.
Oh my god.
Oh.
We are marked as a not safe for work stream, so don't worry. But obviously we don't get too crazy.
Yeah, monkey, dial it back. 2 horny dimes.
Shut your fucking mouth.
How about you take your fucking pussy? I don't even know what that means. Is it clown pussy? Is that what it means?
Yes,
It probably is.
Really, bro. Context is not your
clicked,
context, is it?
like just as you said it too. He's like, oh, okay.
Oh. Fucking mental synapses just. You can see the lightning go across his skull. Oh,
What's a mental synapses?
Right now.
your neurons are firing, telling you what a pussy was.
I don't like that
Yo,
sentence at all.
thank you. Oh, hold on. This is another one of those instances where someone with like the same like first letters of a username followed by a bunch of random numbers is joining. I'm gonna have to fucking mute the alerts again.
Awesome.
I know, right? It's
Just be glad you're not getting the VTuber plague. Like, bots are joining their streams, and it'll join like 400 or 500 of them, and they'll all just keep typing the N word over and over again.
right. No,
Oh
this
my
is kind of this is at least like this is the same thing we had yesterday happen where like someone named like some username named Haas followed by like random words would like follow.
Those are the ones, hotspots.
Yeah. And then this one is gunbots, where it's like it's GUN followed by like random number and letter.
Who just wakes up one day and goes, you know what? I'm just gonna do the shittiest thing possible and make a bot that says the N word 1,000 times.
No,
And then
the worst part about it is every time it types, it uses different characters, so you can't just like stonewall it with like, oh well, we'll just get rid of this character and it won't be allowed to type it. It uses like hundreds of different characters to do it, so you can't just auto ban anybody that says it because it's using different ones. It's kind of wild.
Yeah, who just wakes up and goes like, hey, I know a good way to spend my fucking day. Like, how sad is your fucking life that that's just like what you wake up and decide to do?
I got no clue.
I don't know. It just seems like someone who needs a hug
No.
and a talking to. If those two things don't work, you go to the drastic measure of an ass whooping.
Will not deny. Some people out there just
An
need
ass
Alright.
whooping.
and
Let's see.
a firm beating.
Oh, what?
Not even an ass whooping, just a beating.
Damn.
I saw
Nani?
I saw this fight video. Oh god, it was like in school, and one kid was just beating the shit out of the other guy, and then all you see is him pick him up, and he puts him on his back, and he drops back, and it just like everyone's like, oh, and I was like, oh damn,
My favorite's gotta be the one where the dude like dunks his hand in the urinal and there's just like a
and then
ton of piss in
punches
there.
him. Like, yep,
It just cold
poison
clots
damage. That's pretty funny.
Foul.
Alright. Oh, hold on. I think we might have to do this quickly. Let me see. Where
I'd
is
like to
the...
thank today's sponsor. No, I'm not gonna say that.
Oh,
I'd like to thank today's sponsor, Adam and Eve.
Okay, that felt bad.
this is gonna be fun whenever we have Monkey as a guest.
I do enjoy having him. He keeps it lively.
Monkey,
if you do get ad reads, I fucking want to do them.
Yes. All right. Here. In the meanwhile, let's go ahead and get started. We have passed the timer, so welcome everyone to the new show called Sundays at the Lich Lounge, where me and my co-host Maniacal will go ahead and go over different topics that we decided to just go over in today's episode. And you can usually tell the topic based off of the image at hand. For example, today's topic is the new book, The Wild Beyond the Witchlight. But before we delve further into this, let's go ahead and introduce my co-hosts.
Hello, my name is Maniacal. I'm happy to be here. And let's take it on down to our two guests.
Starting with the skeleton, go ahead.
You said zombie goes first.
I'm going
No,
to say
you go first.
Skeleton man, go now.
Monkey, as everybody knows,
Yes.
kill your parents.
Monkey is one of our Saturday players who you'd recognize actually for playing the... I have to remember everyone's characters all of a sudden. Monkey, would you go ahead and tell everyone what character you're playing?
I play Sally. Everybody was pronouncing that wrong, and I just didn't have the heart to tell them that. More commonly, like if you've seen streams before, you'll know me as Luis, or my most devious character, Grok,
Yes.
Bane of Xeno.
Yeah, you're pretty famous for Grok.
Let me go ahead and Mr. Zombie. Would you introduce yourself?
Okay.
Man. Yeah. Hi, I'm EJ. I am a Tuesday player, and I'm either known for Seath or my newest character, Roz.
Wonderful, wonderful. Right now, I'm currently in the process of getting his PNG loaded on in, but in the meanwhile, we'll go ahead and introduce Hive, who is currently getting his stuff uploaded. Hive, go ahead and give your introduction.
Oh, Hive's here.
You might know me as Quinn, Twig, Andre, or most recently as Gordo. I am not. I am usually always on the podcast, honestly, if I can be there.
Yes, and of course, special guest as usual is also Skittles, who is my lovely partner and someone who you'll see on the Saturday sessions for multiple characters. Skittles, go ahead and introduce yourself.
It's Saturday group superiority. I played his
Wow.
role. We're trying out a Obelix homebrew race, so that's fun. I am the slime GF. And I'm here, super excited. Feywild.
Damn, I should have introduced myself as Orc G. Fuck.
Right. So,
Hell.
I'm gonna go ahead and I just finished getting the new one finished up. I had to like quickly edit an image. So we have our final guest here. Let me get this in. Boop. And see, I'm gonna put this over here in the stream VC text. Sorry about that. A little bit of technical difficulties getting the new thing set up. Oh, I see. Meanwhile, Maniacal, go ahead and would you give a little bit of a, I guess, a filler while I get Hive set up?
Yes. So today we are going to be. So today's topic is we are covering the new book that released for 5e D&D. I believe it is. What was it called again, Zeno?
Into the Witchlight.
The Wild Beyond the Witchlight.
Beyond the Witchlight.
Yeah, in the Wild Beyond the Witchlight. We'll be covering not its main story. I believe it's more of like its functionalities, some of what new it brings to the game, and a bunch of other talking points. Xeno is more of the D&D master, I want to say. So he'll be leading more on this, and then the rest of us will be chiming in as we go. So,
Thank you so much. All right, Hive is now set up. He's the ghoul. Hive, would you go ahead and do a little bit of your voice so that way I can make sure I did it right?
Yeah.
Perfect. Oh, yes, there it is. So we have a whole cast of me, Maniacal, and my undead horde.
You may think that's an artist rendition, but that's an actual picture of Hive.
Yeah, it's actually me.
That's the arm he gets every time. So I'm gonna go ahead and just so yes, today's topic is the Wild Beyond the Witchlight. Jen, always a good thing to start off is I love Wizards of the Coast for everything that they do with their cover images. My lovely guest, you can see that I am screen sharing the cover image, and this definitely will give us a bit of an insight as to kind of like the both whimsical and little creepy nature that the Feywild holds. You can see right there we got a little bit of a circus going on, a displacer beast with butterfly wings, and what look like the ringmasters, a very suave and pimpin' looking Shatter Kai, as you'll find out throughout the adventure, and then their fellow co-worker Shatter Kai as a jester attire. What can you guys gauge from this?
I just need.
well, from what I can gauge from this is it's one of those circus stories that you're brought into this. And anytime a circus is involved, there's always some type of wild shit that goes down.
Exactly. So, we'll go ahead and let's get started with the adventure summary. This is by far the lightest summary of it, and it's not giving away too many of the spoilers, but the main antagonists of the story are three hags who have collectively formed the Hourglass Coven, which is described in an appendix for the DM. These hags are adoptive sisters of Igwith, a powerful figure from D&D's past and a key player in the adventure's unfolding drama. Using an artifact within the adventure, the hags have trapped an archfey named Zibilla in temporal stasis and carved up her fey domain among the three of them. This domain is called Prismer, and to enter it, the characters must first visit the Witchlight Carnival, which travels across the material plane and appears on the character's world once every 8 years. The carnival's owners are a pair of Shatter Kai, Mr. Witch and Mr. Light, who can help or hinder the character's efforts to reach Prismer. But I think one of the biggest things that is a huge bit of this adventure is that this is probably the first 5th edition adventure that can entirely be done with roleplay and no combat. It really depends on, it really depends on like how clever the players can go about it. But just right from that very premise alone, with the summary and the fact that there can be no combat, what are your guys' thoughts? Remember to share the microphone.
Kind of cringe. I like killing things.
I do.
I don't agree. At all.
I don't know. It's an interesting stance to take to just do a story that is not strictly, but mostly roleplay. But I feel like it would actually help a lot of new people to D&D come in especially if they're not comfortable with the combat for the game, this would be a good one to help maybe understand how the combat works when it's not so much combat oriented.
I mean, he said
Yeah.
it can be done without combat,
Yeah.
but knowing the
But-
new people, they might get into it. So it's still, I still feel like it's a good thing.
Here, hi. What were you gonna say?
I was agreeing. It is really interesting that you might be able to, do this through all roleplay. I really like roleplay a lot. I'm sure you could tell, especially since we did my game Friday. You could tell I love a lot of roleplay, and you'll notice that too, next session. But I like combat, but when I play D&D for the roleplay, not necessarily combat. The combat's fun. The the combat for last Tuesday session was very fun, very heartbreaking too.
Oh yeah.
And
Story of that is it was
Vic, what are
very
you
heartbreaking.
doing?
Well, here I definitely can agree that okay, D&D combat does have its place, especially that D&D combat is built to be tactical and very fast. You can easily see that it's super simple. Where in a lot of other games, combat can be more complex but can tell a bigger story. D&D combat can be whittled down to roll a d20. Did you pass? Or did you hit? Or did you miss? You hit. All right, give me the damage. If you miss, move on to the next player's turn.
I think I have something for this. It's not necessarily you're not battling something. It could be a battle of the wits or something like that. If you're role playing, it's still a fight in a way.
Yes.
It's kind of like chess. You're trying
Yeah.
to outthink your opponent.
If you think about it that way, what happened to our boy Calcium last night?
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He tried to talk a big talk, and then vicious mockery was like, haha.
Right.
That's why your mama dead. Unless you have what shoes was she wearing and start talking.
And so it's exactly that. I think roleplay has its huge purpose. Obviously, it is a tabletop role playing game, but it's every adventure I think is built for the right audience. If I were to throw like the Wild Beyond the Witchlight at a group of people who love combat and try to do as little roleplay as possible, you'd find that they probably wouldn't enjoy the Wild Beyond the Witchlight as much as, let's say, Descent into Avernus, maybe even out of the Abyss, a huge like combat centric adventure that involves a lot of survival.
Yeah, I would say that honestly, I like to think that this is genres of games. Most D&D you can play, it's kind of like a action RPG where you got a lot of combat and stuff, and then you dabble a little into the role playing. This one would be more of a visual novel with occasional combat thrown in.
And like a Telltale series game, something like that.
Yeah,
That's a good example. All right, but so this obviously this being one of the newer books, it wouldn't be a new book without new content for the players to use. So we're gonna go ahead and get started with the fact that there are 2 new backgrounds that this book actually introduces. One of which you'll see one of our Saturday players using, and the other one is still kind of like it's very situational to this adventure, though I think a DM can tailor to anyone. Starting with the first one is Fey Loss. To sum it up, at some point in your character's childhood, you were whisked away into the Feywild through one of the Fey crossings. You return home, whether like some years later, probably more as an adult. But your time in the Feywild has definitely helped you to become to get aid from Feywild creatures, as well as like have Feywild visitors in your dreams. And even crazier for character customization's sake, the Feywild has like physically marked you in some way. You can have eyes that swirl with iridescent colors, or even have a tail like that of a dog or another animal. Whereas the other background that's involved is the Witchlight hand, something that's clearly tailored to be kind of like one of the workers here at the Witchlight Carnival. This one gives you the abilities to, as a stagehand would. You can have performance, sleight of hand checks, typically it's proficiencies with a disguise kit or some other musical instrument, and it even supplies you a costume in this background choice. And when people are looking for the feature that this background choice gives you, it's giving you the carnival fixture. Once again, one of those ones that's tailored greatly to this adventure. You are given free lodging, you're given free board when free like room and board, food, and you can wander around the carnival without having to pay for any tickets. Just from these 2 backgrounds alone, though, what are your guys' thoughts?
So the first one is essentially a Robin Williams situation like in Jumanji, and the
Yep.
second one is a kid who was like, "I'm gonna run away and join the circus," or was born in the circus, or
It
was
could-
just like,
It can be
I
either
would
or.
hate to be born in the circus. Fuck that.
Yeah, that would probably fucking suck.
"What the fuck?" Have you guys ever met like circus people? They're the nicest.
Yeah.
people.
I've met some, yeah, like they're nice, but I
I
don't
bet
know with this
you get
this kind of
circus people.
circus. I don't know.
Right, something that's very literally like out of this world could be like
Phase can be terrible.
yes. People don't
Yeah.
realize this, but the Feywild is kind of scary to be in.
Yeah.
Let's
So-
be honest though, a good handful of us here would fit right into a fair wild carny.
Oh yeah.
Monkey
Fair enough.
and me.
Well, here, at least explaining. So with those being the backgrounds, here's the big one that everyone's been looking forward to from this book. The two new races that have been taken out of Unearthed Arcana and officially revised for official use is the Fairy race and the Haragon race, previously known as the Rabbit Folk. One of the cool things about the Fairy, so everyone kind of is already familiar. They're Fey creatures. They're small, walking speed of 30 feet, and flight. However, though, what I'm going to cover more today is kind of the changes that they've gone over. One of which is that the Fairy does not innately know Fairy Fire at level 1. They now know Druidcraft at level 1. At level 3, they learn Fairy Fire. And the new addition is that at 5th level, they actually learn Enlarge and Reduce. Using their innate ability, they can cast Enlarge and Reduce or Fairy Fire once per day for free. And when it comes to their flight has also been updated that they no longer have a hover speed, and the wings are necessary to fly. So if for some reason their wings are crippled, they can't fly.
So, which is an interesting point you bring up because Sally and I, Monkey, Monkey and I were always threatening one of our party members, Laura Fiend, ripping off her wings, and she would always be like, well, they're aesthetic. I don't need them. If this would have been implied, then it probably would have had a little more effect. How many times did we threaten to sell her wings?
Honestly, I don't remember it that much. I honestly remember a handful of times. I was more concerned with trying to kill you guys in hell.
Yeah. What a hell of a time. Yeah. Let's go.
Well, Hive, it's been nice having you.
Yeah. See you later, guys.
Yeah, we-
But yeah. And then on top of this, one other thing I almost forgot. The Fairy cannot fly if they're wearing medium or heavy armor. That was a huge nerf.
L.
So
L.
if you're
Big L.
yeah,
What the
if you're
hell
playing a
is-
Fairy, you can only wear light armor or no armor.
That sounds kind of strong if you can fly around in heavy armor.
Right? I mean, Aarakocra don't have that nerf. At least I don't think so.
Well, yeah, they're big, you know, bird
Right.
people.
Ratio.
Well, then here. So check this out then. So the Haragon was by far, I think, the one that didn't get hurt as hard. So the Haragon, for all intents and purposes, still got most of its stuff. The main things that were changed were its Lucky Footwork and Rabbit Hop. Lucky Footwork now, it still gives you an extra D40 or Dexterity save that you can choose to use at any time. However, though, in order to use this, you cannot be prone, and your speed must be higher than 0, instead of just being able to do this at any time. On top of this, Rabbit Hop is no longer a free action to do. Rabbit Hop is now a bonus action, and it consumes your movement speed to use it. However, though, in compensation for this, instead of a D12 for your Rabbit Hop, now your Rabbit Hop is equal to 5 times your proficiency bonus. So at level 1, you get a 10-foot jump, and at level 17, when your proficiency bonus is at +6, you have a 30-foot jump.
Oh my gosh.
Which would have really helped our boy Monkey out when he was trying to do a lot of what he was doing.
Exactly. But hey, out of curiosity, what are your, at least for me, I feel like the Fairy was definitely the one that was hit the harder of the two, because that flying
Yes.
speed is insane to actually see. The Rabbit Folk, it's honestly a nicer change. They did reduce it that you can only rabbit hop as many times as you can have a proficiency bonus a day. But I still think that the distance increase is one of the biggest benefits to it.
Yeah.
I-
And,
Yeah, it's definitely
Go ahead.
better.
I think it's pretty good.
I don't know. I mean, like, I don't see changing the proficiency thing being a big deal because you can build a character that has a pretty high proficiency. So you can make a character. So if you build Rabbit Folk correctly enough, you could have a character that just zips around the map.
There we go. I'm on push talk now.
I mean, he could be everywhere on that battlefield.
Yeah, it can be. And I think definitely giving it the ability to be on a bonus action is huge instead of a free action, so it gives the rabbit folk more limits on their turn.
Oh yeah.
Ooh,
But
character shoots.
I mean, like if you were to pair that with, I think artillerists, like that would actually be a really good way to get your turrets out on the map.
Yeah, I
On
would.
the field.
Anything you want to add?
Can you imagine a rabbit folk rogue?
Oh, that's a better point. That is.
I was
Mm.
talking to your grandma. Time for me to weigh in on this subject. Anyway, do you need to
Also,
give
like-
Rabbit Folk Fury the Small?
I agree with
Are-
that,
are-
but having
are these
experience,
small creatures?
Hold on, guys. Remember, share the mic.
having experienced the race and seeing like the people online who completely and totally agree, like the general consensus was Fairy was definitely OP, and I think it was a good idea for Wizards of the Coast to nerf it. It won't be a popular opinion though, because everybody was enjoying being completely and totally like, oh, look at this cute little fairy. Oh shit, it killed you.
Oh my god, I'm getting killed as a fucking fairy in heavy armor and a giant axe.
Wait
Oh,
a minute.
God.
The fairy can wear heavy armor?
No, the
not
fairy got
anymore.
nerfed, so now it can only wear. It can't fly if it's wearing medium or heavy.
Oh, bro.
Yeah, and now also its wings are essential because I was asking you, how many times did we threaten to sell Lorfiend's wings?
Almost the whole
Yeah.
thing. I can give a bit of information on the rabbit folk. I think they should get a perception bonus.
Oh, hold on. So wait, did you miss what I said?
Yes, he was-
So the rabbit folk do have a perception skill proficiency. Their lucky footwork is still there, but you can only use it if you're not prone or your speed is not 0. And rabbit hop, instead of being a free action, it's now a bonus action. But to compensate for this, your rabbit hop is now equal to 5 times your proficiency bonus, meaning that instead of rolling a d12, at level 1 it's a 10-foot jump, and at level 17 it's a 30-foot jump.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, oh, what's up?
I will say, for sure, they need Fury the Small. They're a small race.
You just want to do more damage.
You just want to do more
I'm
damage.
letting rabbit folk
You
do
just
more.
want to do more damage.
I
Let's be
do
real.
want to do more damage.
I completely agree with him. That would absolutely make sense. You ever met an angry rabbit? They are not good.
Holy crap.
They are actually pretty nasty.
You
What?
get inspiration for fucking too.
Oh my god. So,
Uh,
at least so we're at least aware about the changes to the new races, and we're aware about the backgrounds. But an adventure would not be an adventure without the hooks that pull people in. And luckily enough, The Wild Beyond the Witchlight, I think, does a really good job at introducing 2 really intricate adventure hooks. One of which being Lost Things. Oh, can I bump up Maniacal a bit? Sure. Maniacal, go ahead and talk. No, I just bumped your volume up.
All right.
So, yes, the first one being called Lost Things. Very simple premise. You, as an adventure, you at some point in your childhood visited the Witchlight Carnival in one of its times when it visited in an 8-year period, and upon visiting it, you lost something and you just couldn't retrieve it. And so you've always had for years this feeling of like getting it back, but as the years went on, you slowly lost that feeling to get what you lost back. Until one day, which happens to be the start of the adventure, your character feels this longing urge to reclaim what was lost, and it just so happens to be that the Witchlight Carnival is coming back into town as you feel this urge. And so when you're thinking lost things, most people assume it's like, oh, I lost like a stuffed animal at the carnival, or I lost like an important family heirloom. No. This is Feywild stuff. We're talking about like the ability, you lose the ability to smile. You can lose your artistic creativity. You can even lose 3 inches of your height here at the carnival.
Jesus Christ.
It's not as bad as you think.
Well,
Until you lose it off the wrong side, then it is.
right. It's one of those things that
Oh my
shows...
God.
I think it's just one of those things that shows you that the Feywild really does have a good job of like being weird, because they have these because emotion is what drives the Feywild. They can really work with abstract things and make them physical.
So essentially, it's like, oh man, this really affected my life, but I just haven't had the So I'm imagining, like, let's take the 3 inches, for example. Like, what if you were, like, a famous athlete who, like, a famous runner, and now one of your legs is, like, 3 inches shorter than the other, completely fucking up your momentum.
Right. And on top,
fuck do you run?
on top of this,
There hobbles a lot.
on top of this, when you lose something at the carnival, depending on which hag it's in the possession of during the adventure, there are minor curses. I'm not going to say which hag is tied to which curse, but one of them is you can't light non-magical fires. Another one is you can't tie or untie non-magical rope. And the final one being you can't open a door without knocking on it first.
So they give you... So 2 of them pretty much inhabilitate you to be able to do anything. The other one is just an OCD condition where you're like, knock, knock, okay, open door.
I think take this in another extreme. Imagine rolling on the table and your rogue ends up getting the last one. Any door they try to get into, they have to knock on first.
Ooh. Like, don't worry, guys, I got this. Hey, it's unlocked.
And with that, the other one being the Warlock's Quest. This one's a little bit more of your standard adventure side if the players aren't really too fans of, like, just being drawn together by fate. Being a pre-made party, you guys would take upon a quest from a previous warlock whose patron for some reason can't be contacted. So he lets you know that there is a portal to the Archfae's realm in the Witchlight Carnival, and that he wishes for you to aid their patron and help them out as far as, like, just returning contact to their patron, help them out and free them from whatever is dampening this overall connection, which we already know from the summary is that the patron is the one who is frozen in time due to these hags.
Not to cut you off, but Max brought up a good point. He was wondering, is it only closed doors or is it any door?
I'd imagine when it implies you can't open a door without knocking on it first, it implies that the door has been closed before.
All right.
Imagine if the door just slams in your face.
Yep, you're fucked.
But I mean, so what? Out of curiosity, you guys have been in a few adventures to at least see, like, how adventures can start off. What are your guys' thoughts on these hooks? Do you feel like that you would be drawn in yourself?
Yeah, I feel like it's very interesting.
Yeah, well, as someone who's been doing this for about a couple of years now, I'd have to say the Witchlight Circus one is probably my favorite because due to the whole campaign being very story oriented, this feels like it would be more traditional or acceptable from a story point of view.
Yeah, most definitely. And I don't know, it definitely is going to vary from party to party to see which one they're feeling more. Though I am definitely, I'm just more drawn to the Lost Things because I love the idea of the Feywild taking abstract things and making them physical objects.
Definitely,
That does sound very cool.
Yeah, and so with this, I'm gonna go ahead and just start, getting into one of my favorite aspects of this entire book, the Witchlight Carnival. The Witchlight Carnival is a wild place, and there are at least 3 major points I want to go over when it comes to this whimsical location, and that is going to be the actual poster map that is used for this. Very much, it straight up feels like you're looking at a Disneyland map when it comes to like the exactly. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're looking at this, it points out to all this different little stuff. And on top of this, each of these little areas has a unique NPC with their own story in it. And you'd also notice something in the top left and bottom right corner of this map is that there is a timer based off of hour to hour, and there is a mood of the carnival. The carnival is open from 8 p.m. till 4 a.m., and there are certain events that happen at certain intervals that you see right there on the poster map. And the bottom right, indicates the mood. Starting with neutral, your player's actions can determine whether or not you guys get the good event or the bad event of this carnival.
Okay.
Any thoughts on the mood tracker, the timer, or just the carnival overview so far?
It reminds me. Do you want to go?
Go ahead. Go ahead, EJ.
Okay. It reminds me of like the morality meter from Catherine, or like any game, or like or Chrono Trigger. Actually, that more specifically actually. Cause it's just like whatever you do affects you throughout like the rest of the shit, or the rest of the quest, or game in this instance.
To follow up with EJ, making a video game comparison, what I feel like this a good game compared to this would be Dead Rising, where if you don't do a certain task at a certain time or anything like this, it depends that determines your ending of the game.
You know, that so you're not too far off. And so to answer Max's question, how easy it is to change the mood, it really does depend. The book does explain that for each individual attraction or area of the Witchlight Carnival, there are different ways that you can affect the mood based off player actions. And it doesn't specifically say like, oh, when a character does this specific action, the mood changes. Some events, like sometimes things out of your guys' own control can actually change the mood of the circus. So it's up to the players to make sure that they end on a good note. But let's go ahead and just take a look. Just, let's kind of take a little bit of an overview and take a little bit of a zoom in on some of these attractions. Well, one by one, everyone pick one and start going. I'll go ahead and take the last one because I know these attractions a little bit more to heart. So I kind of want to see what everyone thinks about. We'll start with Maniacal, my co-host. Go ahead and pick a location.
Give me. I gotta really look at this. I would actually. Why don't we start at the beginning with the ticket booth?
So, taking a look over at the ticket booth, this is the booth where visitors come to buy their tickets at the main entrance. So that is at least a good way to look at this. Just like your standard carnival, you gotta buy a roll of tickets, and each adult ticket costs 8 silver pieces, and each child ticket costs 3 silver pieces. And so, you'd imagine here, just asking this question: would any of you want to sneak into the circus?
Well, now, when you ask that question, it's more of at the time. If I was playing a character that wouldn't normally sneak into Carnival, then no. But if I was playing a character that would, then yes. For all intents and purposes, I will say yes. I would totally try and sneak into the circus. I've already lost something here. Something feels off about the circus. So why would I want them to know I'm here?
Right. Let's also not forget, most adventurers' starting gold is roughly around 10 gold pieces. So to imagine that in order to get 10 tickets, you need 8 gold pieces. That's quite a bit of a hefty price to ask of a player.
I mean, and it depends on how your party starts. If everyone started with their own gold, it would be easy for everyone to get their own tickets. But if it didn't, then you got to worry about paying for someone else's ticket.
Yeah, there are definitely things in this adventure that make it dangerous when you do try to sneak into it. I'm not going to go over that, but it's probably a good idea to buy your tickets despite the hefty price that you are literally going to be paying. What about you, Monkey? Anywhere on the poster map you think you'd want to take a look at? Oh, that's right. EJ.
Yes.
Take a look at the poster map. Anywhere you'd like to go in specific?
Wait, go back to the map.
Okay.
Dragonfly rides.
All right. So taking a look over at the Dragonfly rides, it's straight up what you'd imagine. Huge lily pads that rest on the surface of a pool. There are dragonflies as big as horses, and to simply do it, riding a dragonfly costs 1 ticket pouch. There are 8 giant dragonflies, and they are set to go on a specific path, but a good animal handling could easily allow you to tame the dragonfly to go wherever you want.
No.
Quick question: what are ticket pouches?
Ticket punches. Oh, so it's straight up someone takes one. You bought 10 tickets. They just take one of your tickets.
Okay.
Yeah. But, definitely a good way to look into it. What about you, Hive? Anywhere you'd like to go to on the map?
Let's see here. Yes. Hold on, I'm looking. Actually, what does that say? The Mystery Mint?
The mystery. Oh wait, where?
It's all the way at the bottom there.
Oh, the mystery mine.
Yeah, I couldn't see. It's kind of small.
That is more than fine. Let's go ahead and take a look. Mystery Mine. Oh, I know this. So the ride costs 1 ticket pouch, as you'd imagine, and the mine is the brainchild of an eccentric dwarf who pretty much runs this. When you ride it, it's a roller coaster, taking you through different portals that allow you to experience like all these different fantastical views and such. And sometimes people can actually get exhausted from going through all of these different portals at once.
That's interesting. I mean, what do they do with a passed out customer if they hit too much fatigue on that?
Well, that's on the customer, so fuck them.
I mean, if you hit too many points of exhaustion, you just die. So
Right? Hey, look at they died of joy.
It's like that one roller coaster someone like made in a concept where it kills you from the G forces.
I mean, to be fair, carnivals are fucking scary. There's always the possibility of dying. Like, I've got a real life story of a carnival ride nearly killing me.
Oh man.
Epic.
And well, I mean, here. What about you, Skittles? Any ideas of which location in the carnival you would want to explore?
The Hall of Illusion.
Not a bad idea. The Hall of Illusions is one of, I think, the more primary focuses on this place. The Hall of Illusions is, this is definitely going to be a little bit of a spoiler, but without proper knowledge, you won't be able to utilize what's actually here. This is where you're going to find the entrance into the Feywild, and that secret is pretty much hidden well. So you're going to have to explore the place to try to figure out what the key is to actually using this place. And just a nice little nod into how detailed these characters can get. The person who runs this place is straight up a mime who is not mute by choice. Yet again, another one of those Feywild tricks. They had their voice stolen from them from a Fey creature, and so they are just forever cursed like this. And so they kind of ran with the mute stick. But at least for me, when it came down to the locations here, something that is not, or at least I didn't see it specifically on the map. Yeah, something that's not actually straight up pointed out is that there are small stalls like sprinkled throughout the area. And so if you want to give your players this idea of like, hey, I'm really good with this stat, give me something that I can do. There are 6 carnival games, one tied to each of the different stats. For dexterity, there's a ring toss. For wisdom, there's catching a wild animal while blindfolded. Charisma is a poetry contest. Strength is goblin wrestling. Intelligence is guessing the number of feathers on a cockatrice, and Constitution is outstaring a cyclops while surviving the exhaustion.
Okay, you were saying I get to pick one off the map?
Yes, go ahead and pick one of the locations off the map. We have already done the Hall of Illusions, the Mystery Mine.
Staff area?
The staff area? Yeah, sure. Let's head on over to that staff area.
No, that's... No. Look.
I was about to say.
So far, we've done Hall of Illusions, Mystery Mine, Dragonfly Rides, and the ticket booth.
Yeah. I was about to say, Monkey's looking to peep
Silver
on some
Song
clowns.
Lake. Yeah, I'm trying to get that closey, bro.
So you want to head over to Silver Song Lake, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Luckily enough, what's actually happening over there is that there is a mermaid in a beautiful, like, fishbowl, like, extravagant, large fishbowl, who is doing performances that you'd imagine are happening over in that little pearl on the clam. However, though, this is one of those other minor spoilers. There is a heckler in the crowd that is a guaranteed event that he is going to drop the mood the moment he starts talking. So it's up to the players to kind of like deal with this heckler and the consequences of the mood being dropped.
Yeah, if everybody already hates him, he must be like,
I'd
like,
like
oh,
to
this guy
roll-
again.
I'd
I
like
was
to
gonna
roll
gonna
for
say
mass
like
explosion.
how hard is it gonna be for the guys to find that pearl, yo?
So, we suffer no consequences for
You
killing
got
him,
it.
right?
No, you would most likely bring the mood down because it'd be a crowd of people going like, "Oh my God, someone's just been killed!"
Now, what if I played it off by sticking my hand up the dude's neck and marionetting his mouth like, hey, guys!
I think you just make the situation worse.
I do
It's
think
just
that
like
would.
food.
I think at least one other note to know about the carnival is that they do have ways to, how do I put this? There is no strict guideline on how to do it, as you know, some of these carnivals are known to be. But definitely it is a kind of like expectation to just be nice, don't heckle the staff. And if you do, then the staff, just as there are no rules for how you can treat them, there's probably no rules for how they can treat you.
Anyway, I want to see this man get turned into like a fucking fish.
Oh my
And
god.
she just eats him.
But that is by far, like, seriously, there are so many locations within this carnival that it makes it so extremely cool to, like, I think you can take the Witchlight Carnival and dump it in any homebrew world you want and be an easy access to the Feywild. It doesn't even have to be for the sake of the story that you want to use it for. I just think that this really goes to show that how adventures can... Here, I am a huge fan of whenever a D&D adventure adds mini games for the players to do. That is some of the most fun I've ever seen.
Goat ball.
Like good ball.
Yeah. Goat Ball. Sadly for our Tuesday group, we weren't able to get to Thunderball, where like you can actually do like dodgeball with like a metal ball that gets charged with electricity. Or even for Baldur's Gate Descent into Avernus, Baldur's Bones, that gambling game, that's I think one of the coolest aspects.
You beat the game too fast by accident.
I know. But
I feel. Oh, sorry.
No, go for it.
I was just gonna say, I feel now that all us groups should be wary because we're gonna be coming across some carnies.
Oh come on! I wouldn't be jumping on you guys that fast.
I didn't say when. I just said I feel like they will be appearing.
Here,
Yeah.
if not that, I definitely am probably gonna pull the carnival games from them because I think that the carnival games really do make for some more downtime activity that the DM can throw at their players. But with that being said, this is pretty much the introduction location. The majority of the game is happening in the domain of delight called Prismere, where the adventure you'll see it's divided up into 3 locations. We're not going to go into depth about the 3 locations, more just kind of like the general thing about the Feywild that goes on here. So, for example, one of the biggest things I think that's really cool is the rules of conduct. In the Feywild, these are 3 rules that every Fey creature here knows, but our players might not. So, for example, the rule of hospitality. When a friend, an enemy, or a stranger enters your home, you are expected to be gracious and accommodating to them until such time they prove by their words or actions undeserving of such hospitality. The rule of ownership. You must not steal from a friend, an enemy, or a stranger. To take something that doesn't belong to you without the right owner's permission is a crime and unforgivable breach of etiquette. And lastly, the rule of reciprocity. When a friend, an enemy, or a stranger offers you a gift, you are obliged to accept it and offer something of comparable value, be it a gift or a service in return. Such reciprocation need not happen immediately, though.
See, this is where I say, if you ever make me play Witchlight, I will play a fucking Kinku, and any Fae that comes up to me, it's just gonna be so I don't have to fucking worry about taking any of the debuffs.
I think it's one of the really
What
fun.
if they force you to speak intelligently?
Oh God, did they take away your ability to not speak like that? You actually like you. What? It's like, wait, what do you mean I can't speak? What do you mean I can't speak with my proper vernacular? What?
What have you done to me?
Oh my God, could you imagine?
Speak, douche.
I think was one of the most funny things. I was watching an interview with Chris Perkins about the rule of ownership, and he explained that technically a Fey creature could like leave an item on a stump, and you guys wouldn't know it belongs to them. So when an adventurer like grabs it because they think it's loot, you have broken the rule of ownership, and thus you owe the Fey creature like an item. So be careful with what you grab in the Feywild.
Me grabbing everything.
I mean,
Is there a way to detect that it like owned to
Nope.
someone?
It's literally one of those things where you gotta like test your luck there.
does the item have to be of equal value, or can it just be any fucking item?
Technically, you're breaking the rules. So any such, like for example, it is states that it's a crime and unforgivable breach of etiquette. So to really get your favor back, it's kind of up to the Fey creature what you have to do to it to make up for it.
So it's not so much. So if you break the rule of conduct and you take the item, you have to do something for them. Not so much give them an item. They pretty much have to decide what would
Right.
make them. So
Right,
basically, they're gonna pull a Karen on your ass and demand something from you.
Oh god, a Karen Fae. Be aware, it is a gift or a service. So that's something interesting to know about this. But at least one other thing I like about this is, yes, it has the Skyrim Protect the Children game built into it, where anytime you strike a child in the Feywild, instead of any damage done to them, they explode in a burst of multicolored light and are taken to a far corner of the domain outside of the adventure.
And Gordo really could have used that.
I know.
Zeno, I have a question.
What's up?
All right, just because the curiosity in me wants to ask, so you already know this question is going to be great. If I take something and I'm like, oh, my character will give you a service, wink, wink, push, push, nudge, nudge, you know I'm going to.
Whoa.
Do they accept that? Is that like a cop-out answer?
If they believe that it is of equivalent value.
I believe.
Right.
EJ, I believe what the answer you're looking for is that is up to the DM's discretion. And if I know Zeno enough, if he's in the
gonna
right
say
mood,
no.
if he's in the right mood, he'll be totally down for that because he's gonna want to see where that goes.
Just imagine it's like, all right, you offer your services, and then like the hag transforms into their true state, and then you just end up like you realize that they're actually like about to topple over you and really give you some scars. Welcome to the Feywild. Not everything is as it seems.
Yeah. Monkey, were you gonna ask me something? Or...
Why are we hating on
How did
Hag?
you eat-
Oh, how did I hit the child?
Yeah, how
To
did you
keep
kill
it
a child?
to keep it brief, the plan EJ made up was just so like smart and like I thought like bulletproof that like it would work instantly. But at the time, we didn't know that thing could like mind read at will, you know.
Yeah.
So
But,
he you know, we were in the right mindset, but
you know,
the
we
wrong
were in the
child.
right mindset, but you know, sometimes the grind set just don't work out. You know.
Little Timmy
Yeah.
fucking ate
And-
it. Oh my god.
The biggest team
And-
effort ever.
I
You
think
know,
Let me rein this back in with you guys. If you guys are very interested to know the whole story, you can check out the whole story at the Xeno Lynch YouTube channel.
yes, the Twitch still should have up the VOD for I think today, or if not the next few days. But VODs are going to start being uploaded as of today.
Anyway, ad time.
Shut
This
up.
podcast is brought to you by my grandma's awesome fudge. You will may not be getting any. Fuck you.
Well, here.
Thank you for
So
that.
let's go ahead and now that we've had that abrupt ad break, we head on back over to interesting things about the Feywild is that your emotions can actually transform the domain in slight ways. Because you guys aren't innate inhabitants to it, your transformations to the environment do vary in small springs. But for example, like, let's start with Maniacal. Maniacal, would you say are you exhibiting a positive emotion or a negative emotion? Just pick.
Negative, because I want to see where that goes.
All right, go ahead. Do you have the ability to roll a d8 quickly for me?
Yes. 5.
All right, and so a 5 would get you a cloud above you takes the form of an old woman's sad face.
You have a walking emoji.
Here, let's go ahead and... Oh, what's up?
Yeah. To be honest, that would probably lighten my mood up because I'd feel bad for the sad face. I'd be like, oh no, don't be sad.
Right, but that's exactly showing you that like emotions can slightly change the environment. Not to extreme effects, but enough to cause like visual changes. Hold on, dude. And so let's say monkey, positive or negative?
Negative.
All right, roll a d8.
Motherfucker, I gotta open. Sec.
Yeah.
Do you not have dice on your desk?
No, I don't. I don't own dice. I am that poor. Okay, I use D&D.
Dice can be like literally a set of dice could be like $6.
It's okay.
Okay.
We do
You
not
know what I
we
can
do
get
not
with
mock the
$6?
poor. A McDonald's
I
burger.
mean, if
Okay,
I know
said
you,
D8.
D8, yeah. Let's go ahead and see what you get.
I can
I
get
got
like
a 5.
six McChickens.
Wait, you got a 5?
We have the Dollar Tree dice.
What was that, monkey?
Raven.
5.
I'm gonna go ahead and bump you 1 down because we just had 5. So if you had a negative reaction and you ended up rolling a 6, a chill wind carries a rotten stench right into your nostrils.
Ew.
EJ, positive or negative?
I want to go positive.
All right, roll a d8.
D&D Beyond. It's loading. It's loading. This is the first time it's taken long.
I know, right? It's put on the spot, so it has to show you how slow it could possibly be.
But wait, yeah, it went 2.
2. So when you have a positive reaction, a positive emotion in the Feywild, and you rolled a 2, flowers bloom or tasty mushrooms just instantly sprout nearby.
Oh, sick.
Hive, positive or negative?
Oh.
Positive.
All right, roll a d8.
Fucking, where's the dice channel at?
It's probably if you're looking in D&D, there's a gen die spot.
Yes, it's right there. How do I roll again?
Point me.
Among Us.
Exclamation point R, 1d8. Make sure there's a space between the R and the 1.
Got a 3.
All right.
Yeah.
So fireflies gather and dance nearby when you have a positive emotion, probably near your head or something. And last but not least, Skittles, what about you? Would you want to have a positive emotion or a negative emotion in the Feywild?
Knock it off.
Negative.
All right. Go ahead and roll a d8. Yeah, sorry.
Okay, I have a spare set of dice I'm going to send to you.
No, because I have D&D. And besides, we can't use real dice in our D&D games anymore, so it's useless.
I'm still
You
gonna
just
send it
roll
to you.
off screen and just, hey, I got a crit.
All right. So because Skittle has rolled a 7 with a negative emotion, a nearby raven mocks you by imitating the sound of a baby crying when you have a negative emotion.
That physically hurt me.
It literally is just straight up like a raven, like, you know, if it could speak Vulcan, it's like little baby man, little baby man.
Little baby man, little baby man.
Do you like how I walk?
But
do you like how I talk?
That's at least that's one of the other things. I'm only gonna go over one last one, which is that deaths in Prismer do happen weirdly. So for example, I'm just gonna say one that, let's say you roll a 3 or a 6 upon dying, there's no additional effect, you just continue to die. If you roll a 1, you turn straight up into stone, or if you roll an 8, the creature instantly returns to life with 1 hit point as though affected by the Revivify spell.
Yo, that's nuts.
Yeah, go ahead, Max. You want to go ahead and roll a d8 to see what happens for your positive or negative emotion? All right. Assuming, knowing him, he's going to be giving us a nice little roll any second now. Here. Meanwhile, we can come back to this because I am going to go ahead and see what else there is. And I think all that would be left would be... Oh, that's right. So foraging definitely does change in Prismere. So for example, same thing, there's another D8 table. And so you could find a gourd shaped like a plump little dragon that heals you for as much as a healing potion. You could even find 3 gingerbread cookies shaped like elves and stacked on a wooden plate. It's up to you if you think that's worth taking, but, you know, you find 3 gingerbread cookies just out in the wild.
I would not trust that shit. That is.
Fuck them cookies.
That is poison.
Waffles.
That is.
Oh my god, it's the Shrek waffle scene.
The waffles scene.
It'd be more of like, I wouldn't trust that because the second I buy into one, I'm just gonna hear little. Oh god! I mean, there were elves turned into gingerbread cookies. Oh
Yeah.
god, the Feywild is nuts.
And so at least those are all of just the random effects that can be happening during your Feywild adventure. It's kind of crazy, like how Prismere is just with those effects. You then account for any special rulings from like creatures that you encounter in events that you go through. But that is, we're not going to go into that because I'd hate to spoil people from the grand adventure that is The Wild Beyond the Witchlight. But this would not be a new book without some magic items and some new creatures. To say the least, there are some that we're already pretty familiar with, like the Cloak of Many Fashions makes a reappearance in this adventure. Or you could even get a bobbing lily pad, a very rare item, which is a magical vehicle that is about 10 feet in diameter. It is a leaf that floats in the water. It has tendrils to propel it across the land and across the water's surface, but not underwater, as well as through air. It has a walking, flying, and swimming speed of 20 feet, and it can hover. So it's just straight up, you have a lily pad car.
Surfboard.
That's definitely a good way of looking at it. And you can just go 20 feet every 6 seconds type of deal. It's a little slower than walking, but hey, you can fly and swim. You can go over water with this too.
At least you're not the one exerting your energy.
Oh, you have to get work. Yeah, right.
I mean, is it like a sentient? Is it like a creature of the?
No, it's kind of like in the same way like a flying carpet is in D&D, where it's just an item.
Okay. So.
Yeah. And definitely the big item of the adventure. I'm not going to spoil, but it is a huge, almost MacGuffin-esque. But they even do something as simple as like an orb of direction. You guys can see what it looks like, but it just straight up is like an orb that points north and south. But this type of orb could even point up, down, left, right, even like backwards and forwards. You know, or how about the pipe of smoke monsters, where you can take this pipe, give it a nice inhale and exhale, and all of a sudden you're doing the caterpillar piper from Alice in Wonderland.
Meth.
Oh shit! You become one of those vape douches that are like, check out these smoke rings. You're just like, cool, bro.
Or definitely, if any of you guys know of the Snicker Snack, you'll probably be aware of one of the creatures that's coming in the book coming next. But this book, go for it.
I'm gonna ask: is the Snicker Snack kind of like the Wabbajack?
It is. You're close to that. Oh no, actually no. You're talking about Wabbajack from Skyrim, right?
Yes.
No. So this, taking a look at this Snicker Snack is pretty much a functioning Vorpal sword.
Whoa, that's what I want to get that tattooed.
So if any of you guys know like poetry or a little bit about Feywild or just stories, can any of you tell me what a Vorpal sword is typically known for?
Well, you got excited when you thought I meant the Wabbajack from Alice in Wonderland. So.
Oh, so no, sorry, you are close. Typically the Wabbajack is, I think it was renamed, but the original name for it is a Jabberwock.
The Jabberwock, yes.
What?
Jabberwocky.
Get water right now.
dance
I'm in the
move.
middle of the stream. Yeah, so that's kind of a little bit of a what's upcoming. What was that, Monkey?
Where the fairy hook is at?
Where the fairy hook is at? Well, you know what?
Wait, so if you crit someone with this, does it turn them into something?
So, here,
Instead of cutting their head off like a Vorpal sword would?
Let's go ahead and take a look. Let's see. The Snicker Snack.
That's the name of it.
And when you use the weapon to attack a creature that has at least one head and roll a nat 20, you cut off one of the creature's head. The creature dies if it can't survive with the head. A creature immune to this effect is immune to this effect if it's immune to slashing damage. It does not have a head. It has legendary actions, or the DM decides that the creature is too big for the head to be cut.
Where's the Vorpal sword? I didn't get to see it.
No, this is it. The Snicker Snack is another variant of the Vorpal sword.
Oh, okay.
It's pretty cool. I think it has that like Feywild sword-esque.
I mean,
Yeah.
is there a curse attached to it?
Nope. It has a fickle personality. So one thing that's hilarious is it automatically ends its attunement to you if you miss on attack rolls with the weapon 3 times in a row.
Wow.
It's just straight up like, man, you suck, and then just leaves you.
It just like jumps out of your hand
Wait,
and hops away.
Go down, Zeno. The talking doll. What the fuck?
Oh yeah,
I
a
think it's
common
awesome.
magic item. What's even worse is, so check this out. While the stuffed doll is within 5 feet of you, you can spend a short rest telling it to say up to 6 phrases, none of which can be more than 6 words long, and you can set a condition under which the doll speaks each phrase. You can also replace old phrases with new one. Whatever the condition, it must occur within 5 feet of the doll to make it speak. For example, whenever someone picks up the doll, it might say, "I want a piece of candy." The doll phrases are lost when your attunement to the doll ends.
My question is, we get this whole book on like the Feywild.
Yeah.
I want their next book to be like a kind of anti-magic setup.
Well, I will let you know
More
now.
races on-
In October, we're going to be expected to get Fizbit's Guide to Dragons, which means that we're going to get a whole new compendium about dragons and stuff.
Well, I meant more like
And sub races.
Oh yeah.
I meant more as a like, because there are so few like classes devoted to really dealing with magic. Like if I remember correctly, there's like 2 that are directly towards countering magic, and yeah, I just want I want something, since we got this whole one devoted to like magic and the Fae. I want like the humans and how they hate everything different kind of thing.
You know,
A little
I
bit
I,
of
I,
magic
I
would
definitely
be-
I definitely get that. Like, oh, okay, maybe not that, but I do understand that like having ways to counter magic is pretty good. It is a shame that usually the people who can counter magic are spellcasters themselves, so it's almost
Yeah.
very little to no way to give a fighter the ability to without them taking levels into wizard or taking the subclass Eldritch Knight.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm just
Oh.
talking like
I don't know.
a witch hunter fighter, like you know.
I see.
In my years
Or-
of playing like tabletop, 6 years now actually. It's I don't know. All the DMs I've played for, they don't really use magic all that often. Unless it's like later on in the game.
Oh,
Here,
we
at
get
least
dabbed on with magic pretty hard.
Yeah, at least actually uses magic. And I'm glad because that makes things more difficult. Because just fighting people with swords is not hard at all.
No, it's
right,
actually
especially when you
pretty-
have spellcasters yourselves in your
Yeah.
group.
But if they can hit people and do magic, okay, I don't know if I want to fight that. It's kind of
Especially here, let's take this retrospect. So that is true. Technically, if a book comes out and there are more ways to counter magic, that would be a good idea. As it is, there are already kind of ways to stop it, such as dispel magic, counterspell, and anti-magic field. But be aware, whatever we give the players, we give to creatures as well. So if a book like that
Yeah.
were to come out, then creatures would have more ways to counter your magic.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I like
think-
that idea.
I think I have an idea. I don't know if weapon infusion, I guess it would be a weapon enchantment, is like a big thing, but I feel like that's a job for like maybe the players and the DM to come up with. Because I feel like if they made a whole book about that, it wouldn't be much there. And
I think here better.
maybe I'm like, I don't know.
If anything, it'd probably be a talk for when Strixhaven comes out, as that's like a magical college.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll see more stuff. But here, getting back onto
Yeah.
topic. Finally, we're gonna wrap up with the creatures of the Feywild book. So we have boggles that just look like little. I'm just gonna describe it as little gremlins that have like sticky black ichor. Yeah, sticky oil. It explains it right there. We got Brigannox. We got bullywugs. Bullywugs in like armor, looking very
the
fairy tale.
frog.
Yeah,
It looks like the frog from Chrono Trigger. What the-
right? No, exactly. Or how about everyone's favorite, the Campestri?
This thing.
The-
Oh, what?
Did the Saturday group
Yeah.
encounter this?
They did not.
Oh,
They're over in
I
like a
love
desert
'em.
environment.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Campestris,
Let
little
it be
mushrooms
known.
that can mimic songs told to them, but always in a nasally and high pitched voice.
Yo, Hive, can you let me keep one of them?
I killed all the ones that were.
They will definitely be more if my hypothesis is correct.
Or-
Are you talking like a nasally tone, like Toad, like?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Imagine Toad's voice, but literally like as a mushroom that can repeat any song you give it to.
We will be able to imagine Toad's voice once that Mario movie comes out.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
I can't wait for him to be voiced by Idris Elba.
Oh well. Other than that, then we of course we have the Darklings that come out, the Darkling Elders, the giant dragonflies as EJ selected for his ride of choice, even giant snails.
Oh yeah, the snail race. Oh,
Yeah, snail races take a whole new level with this. And of course, Haragons have been updated to have 2 new NPCs for Haragon Brigand and Haragon Sniper. But I think nothing beats what's about to come up, which is the infamous, the deadly Jabberwock.
Oh.
And
It's
it's
creepy.
nowhere on par with the Demogorgon.
Yes.
I do not fear it.
Yes, the Jabberwock is a pretty intimidating creature, to say the least. Before I go into its stats, one thing that's interesting about the Jabberwock is this. Once the Jabberwock has chosen its target, it concentrates its attack on that target until the victim is killed and devoured.
Damn.
So, it's like literally one of those things where you guys can't take aggro off of a player because once the Jabberwock decides who it's gonna go for, it keeps going until the creature is dead.
Won't let that shit happen to me though.
I mean, the thing is, in that case, if I knew what the Jabberwock was in party, I would immediately. I'll take Monkey for example, who's playing our barbarian. I would immediately go. All right, Monkey, go get its attention. You're the only thing that can take hits until we can get it down enough to kill it.
You would think that. However, though, interestingly enough, the Jabberwock randomly determines its target amongst the fight.
Well, it can do that, but if you do it clever enough to where Monkey is the only thing he sees.
Oh.
Hey, I don't want to hear it. I was
So
doing
here,
a
this
lot
that's
for
that's an interesting thing you decided. But what about this? Jabberwock has uncanny tracker. The Jabberwock can unerringly track any creature it has wounded within the last 24 hours, and it knows the distance and direction to its core as long as the two of them are on the same plane of existence.
Yeah, from the description of it, like once it has a target, it won't stop. I feel like it'll always know where you are, no matter what.
It kind of has that. Also has true sight, so it can see through magical illusions, and it has a passive
Yeah.
perception of 18.
Yeah, but
Jesus.
can it see through like walls, rocks, or anything like
It's
that?
true
So
sight.
it can't see through walls because true sight's more for illusions, but the uncanny tracker will let it know the distance and direction to its target.
Yeah. Well, and what I'm
Yeah.
saying is,
There's no note.
so say our party comes across it and it hasn't seen it yet. I would just send Monkey
What are you
out
doing?
where it's the only thing it sees, while
What
the
are you
rest
doing?
of us hide behind a rock. Let it get targeted on Monkey.
Okay, thank you.
Monkey does his barbarian shit because he's, he's a tank. He can take all that damage.
Did you like
And
it?
then the rest
And
of us.
I simultaneously all the luck.
Don't worry, I'm push to talk still.
Yes.
Both negative and positive.
Yeah. So, Monkey would be the perfect person to use as bait for this thing, where the rest of us fucking attack it from behind.
Here, so check this out. This is one of my favorite things. This is one of the worst parts about the Jabberwock, though. Confusing burble. The Jabberwock burbles to itself unless it's incapacitated. Any creature that starts its turn within 30 feet of it and is able to hear the burbling must make a DC 18 Charisma save. On a fail, the creature can't take reactions until the start of its next turn, and on its turn it rolls a d4 to determine what happens. A 1 through a 2, the creature does nothing. On a 3, the creature does nothing except use all of its movement to move in a random direction. And on 4, the creature either makes one melee attack against a random creature it can see, or does nothing if no visible creatures is within reach.
So,
This thing removes opportunity attacks, so that way it can, like, oh, this is how it, like, avoids opportunity attacks, so that way it doesn't have to worry about, like, oh, I'm gonna go move to my target, but there's a barbarian in my way. Luckily, the barbarian doesn't have a reaction, and the barbarian can't do anything on its turn because of my burble. 3 legendary resistances, 10 hit, regeneration of 10 hit points, and it also has fire. I think one of its scariest attacks is Fiery Gaze. Instead of like a breath weapon like dragons, this has a recharge 5 through 6. Unless it's blinded, the Jabberwock emits a 120-foot long, 5-foot wide line of fire from its eyes, dealing 7d8 on impact, and with a DC 18 dex save.
please tell me this is like an endgame monster.
This is more of a CR13 creature. Hold on, one sec. What's up?
Memorize where that is.
Yes.
Anyway, Maniacal rolls
Love you.
at us.
Hold on, guys. I'm gonna say by a skill, she's right now heading off to work.
Right now?
Bye,
So-
Skittles. Bye bye.
Good night.
Well, now that I have the floor,
Not right now, dude. I'm literally just saying
What-
your mom right now.
let's take time to ask everyone here, like, so far, what are the thoughts that are going through us as players with everything that has now been given to us? Like, what are some strategies or something like that that we could to go against most of this stuff?
Avoid it.
I mean, like, avoiding is always an option. You know, I don't DM. I've only taken like one DM lesson from Xeno, so avoiding isn't always an option. But a prime example is with this Jabberwock. Like, I've already suggested some strategies on how to take it out. What are some strategies you would have, Hive?
Oh, repeat that again.
I said. I was asking what kind of strategies
Say bye to your mom,
would
love
you have against
Hold on, right now.
something
Right
like
now,
this?
still in the stream, dude.
I know your track record, you and EJ's track record with strategies is stellar right now, but
If it's not avoiding it, the only thing you could do with this thing, since it can track really well, is just try to overwhelm it and beat it.
So, I am back. As a side note, yes, Jabberwocks are pretty terrifying, and I almost sat on my headphones that you see on the image.
those are expensive headphones. Don't
Yes.
break those.
Yes, but I think what's even scary, it's, how do I put this? At least one thing to avoid is just, so long as you can, the Jabberwock can only track you so long as it's wounded you within the last 24 hours. If you manage to hide from this thing for 24 hours successfully, it will lose track of you.
Well, looks like I'm gonna go get some milk.
Right? It's a It's a pretty scary thing. But then we kind of get on through.
What the fuck is that?
That's a Korid. They are
Oh.
secretive creatures that have strong ties to earth and stone. There's once again Fae, but they're kind of like Earth Fae. We have
What
living
the
dolls.
fuck?
I would not want to meet that Korra at night. That shit looks creepy.
There's an image for them that I love. I'll probably go back into the book after the stream to show you guys.
My screen is loading.
Okay,
Yo, about to get that pussy, bro.
that's a Korid.
That core, yo, that looks like a fucking nightmare fuel. Oh my god.
I'm gonna show you guys.
mean,
I'm gonna show you guys a funny image of these things after. It's pretty wild.
The cord looks like he knows how to party though.
Yeah. Then we got living
Wait,
dolls.
what? It froze
Quickling.
the doll thing for me. Go back up.
I need to get ready to go. That doesn't
This is-
solve the puzzle.
I think
I've
that's
always
what.
wanted a living doll race.
I think it definitely would help to have a
Yes.
construct, but then you can easily describe your Warforge as having more doll-like
Oh
features.
yeah, you're right. It's literally just like cosmetic flavor.
When's
Damn,
the
I didn't even think
difference-
about that.
when oh, I thought he was chewing on my cables for a second. Wouldn't a living doll be a little different from a Warforged though?
A little bit.
Isn't
Well,
it
it's,
both magic?
they both
In a way.
technically are through magic. The living doll is more Fey magic than the Warforge, but still, I think what Hive is referring to at least is like being able to play as something like this. But then again, you can flavor stuff as you wish.
Yeah.
Xeno, I didn't get to see the one before this.
There you go.
Oh.
That's the
What
Korid.
the fuck is that thing?
That's monkey IRL right there.
That is actually me. I wish I had a beard. That fucking luscious, bro.
Here, I'll show you. Once again, after the stream, I'm going to show you guys an image. But then we head on over to Quicklings, Red Caps, which I'm pretty sure Maniacal Monkey remember,
I was about
Yeah.
to say, I know what red caps are.
and Selenian Twins. There are a lot more creatures with stat blocks in this book, but for the purposes of spoiler avoidance, they shove them into the actual adventure, so you have to like go hunt for them.
Rocco, shut the fuck up.
My next thing is trying to get that living doll pussy.
But I mean, for the most part, that ignoring some of the other sections as to avoid spoilers, that for the most part is the Wild Beyond the Witchlight. What are your guys' thoughts after kind of like going through this deep dive?
I'd say this interests me like
Your.
what's that other one?
He's still busy.
That other like module you told me about way back when the
Curse of Strahd?
No, not Curse of Strahd, the one in the big city.
Oh, Baldur's Gate.
No, not that.
Oh,
the-
Waterdeep.
Waterdeep. It interests me like Waterdeep does, like the big mystery and like so much to do in such like a kind of condensed area, you know?
Oh yeah, right. It's just this book really does a lot, and what's interesting as well is so I'm gonna relate as much as this makes more sense to compare it to Waterdeep, I compare it to Curse of Strahd, because Curse of Strahd and Wild Beyond the Witchlight focus on one domain within either the Shadowfell or the Feywild, but then we get Von Richten's Guide to Ravenloft, which explains about the actual how there are multiple domains, and in the Shadowfell it's the domains of dread, whereas in the Feywild it's the domains of delight, and this is Prismeer is just one of such domains.
One thing that interests me about this is like it's so story built that you can't cover everything in one playthrough, and a DM like you who has multiple groups could run this with all groups and get different outcomes each time.
Exactly, especially because maybe at some point, now that this book is out, I have a better sense of what it is to run the Feywild in general, kind of like the same way Curse of Strahd gave me a hint as to how to run the Shadowfell.
You run over my nuts.
Oh. Well, you know what? We'll probably run over them next time on the what was it? I'm trying to remember. Saturdays at the Lich Lounge.
Sunday.
Oh, sorry, Sundays at the Lich Lounge. There we go. Yes. But seriously, thank you everyone so much for tuning in. I'll go ahead and let all my players sign off before I do the closing remarks.
Who's going first?
Typically the co-host, like Maniacal.
Yes, it has been lovely being here for the first podcast. I'm excited to be here for next week as well. I want to thank our lovely guests, Hive, EJ, and Monkey, for being here. On to you guys.
I guess I'll go. On next episode, we will see what it looks like to run over someone's balls. Good night.
Maybe that actually I might find a way for us to fit that into next week.
I hope so.
Yeah. But
Will be done via MS Paint.
yeah. But if that's everyone's closing remarks, I'm gonna go ahead and
My turn.
go for it.
This stream has been brought to you by Lockheed Martin. If you want to buy a knife missile, Lockheed Martin's your man.
And EJ.
I'd like to thank today's sponsor, D Brand.
Team Ryan. Oh my fucking god. Well,
You
uh,
are all cards.
seriously though, thank you everyone so much for tuning in. It's a pleasure having you all join us for today's podcast. If you enjoyed today's content, would like to follow and subscribe, that would help support us a lot. For any more additional content, possible chance to participate, and even content polls, feel free to follow my Twitter and join the Undead Legion on Discord. And for any VODs, such as today's episode, check out the Lich YouTube channel. Everyone be safe and have a good night.
Good
Mark,
night.
not waiting.